Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be continuing our Monogatari series journey here with episode 11 of Off and Monster Season, the third episode of Shinobu Mastered. Yeah, look at that. It's a pun on mustard. I learned that during the week, which was cool. Anyway, we're pretty excited to be here doing Monogatari again. It feels like it was just yesterday I did episode 10 actually. Because it almost literally was. Well, not really. It was a few days ago now. So let me give you the whole shebang, right? I accidentally became important at my job kind of recently, right? Hence, this week has been a very big week, and hence, going forward into subsequent weeks, I'll need to change my tact somewhat with how I record the stuff for the channel. My day off is Friday every single week, so the idea right now is to mass record my entire week of content on that Friday, right? And kind of, again, get like coffees and stuff to make my way through it. Again, I think it's working pretty good so far today. I recorded Haibane Renmei and it made me really depressed, but then I had some spaghetti, so now I'm feeling better. Sounds pretty good, sounds pretty good. Again, I'm willing and able to change things if people aren't liking the content coming out this way, but I feel like it's a necessity, especially with me tending to do 10-hour, 11-hour, sometimes even 12-hour shifts because of this new role, but also I'm earning a lot more money, so that's good too. I like money, as I'm sure you know from the whole Patreon shebang. The other thing I should mention, I'm on holiday next week. Do not expect videos next week for basically 1 week of videos, starting with Apothecary Diaries in the middle of the week there, and moving through to the next middle week slot. Hence, Monogatari will miss a week. It's unfortunate, but shit happens. You know how it works around here. If anything, I'm just really happy I'm going to be on holiday. Either way, I'm kind of rambling because mostly if I pop over here to the YouTube comments, these are only really what's here. Again, we haven't had that full week to get the breadth of the YouTube comments just as I readjust to this new system. Again, the way we're structuring this as it stands right now, if you want your YouTube comments read on these kind of things, you need to get them in pretty quick. Otherwise, I'm not going to have the full week of stuff there, and maybe we'll return back to doing public comments. I don't know yet. Either way, I'm not sure that these two comments in particular need much attention from me. Thank you either way / though. So yeah, moving swiftly onwards, we'll do that Patreon shout out and we'll start to summarize what we should expect from this new episode of Monogatari. Again, it's kind of a moot point this week considering that I'm not sure how that extra week's going to work yet. I'm not sure when that pause is going to be. But if you check the Patreon and you don't see anything up there, there's probably a reason as to why. And it's because I'm on holiday. But again, I have a poll coming up to replace Apothecary Diaries. If you would want double your normal amount of votes on voting in whatever that poll is, again, that video will be out at some point after this one, I think, you should become a patron because you get double votes and you can influence me to watch whatever you want me to watch. It's pretty cool. Either way, many people have become patrons, of course, up to and including Mickey Babers, Traus++, Bobbin, Chobo Ruby, Domobot, Ichu, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Flirt Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Heath, Ika, Yako Yavnen, Joran, Kelvin, Kimskel, Clem, Nosta, Cont Begemot, Lou, Mistake L. Chen, Nailu, Parnik, Pencil Sharp 333, Ron Lad B&K, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Voeko, Without a Net, Zan Echo, Yuki Ali, Zach, Binchi, Hans Peter, Marsh, Voodoo Chili, and Funny Fat Guy. Thank you to all those people for giving me money. Now moving swiftly onwards to Monogatari. What happened last episode? It was a little bit of a strange one. We kind of opened with this conversation between Higasa, Kambaru, and Araragi, just kind of about what we're going to do next with regards to the basketball club. The way I read that particular conversation was that the problem with the basketball club is it was initially built upon this premise that there was this star player and this person that really everybody adored in Kambaru, and that's kind of persisted even in the absence of Kambaru, right? Whoever is at the top of this club has a inhuman amount of power over what goes on in it. What do we know about the first girl? I believe her name was Kie or something to that effect. We got her monologue as the opening monologue almost to this particular arc, right? To this particular core. So what did she say? She was struggling with the balance of study, club, and the rest of her life, and kind of wished almost to become have an excuse to leave the club, right? And as we know, if this thing is built upon somebody who's the be-all end-all of everything within the club, they're not going to want people to leave the club or find a way to leave the club. Again, they're going to try to prevent that. That's kind of a little bit of my read at the moment. Either way, there's 5 mummy girls, which is pretty bad. 5 people that have been taken out. Again, it was implied that Deathtopia was the one that took them out, but by the very end of the episode, that seems to be a bit of a red herring, considering Deathtopia herself is a little girl, small form, and has been mummified. So, how do you mummify yourself? Unless she's starving herself or something, which would be a weird twist, but I think there is a larger plot at play. I'm not sure who is entirely in charge. Who's the villain here? It's definitely not Deathtopia as it stands right now. Either way, Guyan gave Araragi, I guess, a little bit of a task, I would say. And that task was to keep Shinobu busy. Don't let Shinobu know what's going on here. Circumstances happen, Shinobu learns what's going on here. Again, there's some fun stuff in there about the backstory and Shinobu's perspective on it, referencing Kabuki as well with regards to this mummification thing that's going on, this vampirization, and so forth. Yotsugi was there was some fun Hachikuji stuff. Either way, the conclusion is to save Deathtopia, we need to kill Araragi and send him to the afterlife again. So we do that, and again, funny Katanagatari references there as well, which was pretty cool. And now we're in heaven, apparently. And Princess Acerola is there. And that's kind of our jumping off point. Again, I like the Oni mask there. I think it's very interesting thematically again. So yeah, shoutouts to that. That's our general setting. I think last week I didn't do my summary in my timeline. So we'll have to rectify that here in a second once I finish the episode as well. So let's do just that. As I said before, Patreon, Discord, of course, if you want to talk to me about the show. Also suggest new shows for that poll. Like the video, subscribe. Let's jump into episode 11 of Monogatari Off and Monster Season. Rightio, I have Monogatari Off and Monster Season, episode 11 up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 35 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. It's got the same kind of terrible looking poop on screen, which is cool. Another thing I noticed, there's no openings, which is, I guess it's a Shinobu arc, and they've always been kind of weird about openings anyway, so weird. Either way, I'm using the subs please version, which I should explain once again. It's the only thing that's out and available. Hopefully, maybe after the week off next week, there may be some more MTBB stuff there, because I thought that the subs please last week was kind of poor. Either way, moving swiftly onwards, let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1 and jump right in. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Weird. Yeah, we're in heaven, baby. Wow. Oh, and he's, yeah, straight down into the... Yeah, cool. Alright, he's glazing, which is fair enough. Oh. Okay, invited. Yeah, so again, should you be looking at her? Do you want to kill yourself? Don't know. He's stumbling over his words. Okay. It's pretty nice. This shit's hella European. I mean, that's a perspective on it. I could only grasp it because I saw it before. Okay. Things are fleeting. The language too, of course. Very formal Japanese. Ugh, feet. Yeah, but how would you die? That she burdened somebody else. Oh, okay. I see why you feel guilty. That's a bit weird, though. Lion-san, Kuma-san. Well, because they are humans, they have more capacity for thought. Kinda. I know. But I was going to hell to... Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you prevent me from going to hell to save her? Yeah, were we in the wrong? Okay. Well, explain. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna give you my blood. Okay. How are you gonna give me blood? That's an interesting question. Oh, face. Oh, Kisu. Okay, you got a smooch. That seems pretty good. Opening? Yeah, right. In that similar style. Just instrumental? Hachikuji? Missing students? Dead bodies. Investigation. Meniko. Shinobu with a hat. Ideas out of our heads? I'm falling off a cliff? I don't know how to feel about the detective-y tone about all of that. But sure. Shinobu mastered. Very cool. Alright, I got her blood. You're the one that killed me! Oh. Okay. Also, hello, Guyan. Araragi, you had one job. Why are you hurt? Okay, thanks. Yeah, get up. Wait, I got hella blood in my mouth? Oh, this is great. Everyone's probably like, what the fuck? What the fuck is he doing? Yeah, it was a form of resuscitation. Oh, saliva? I thought she was gonna spit out hella blood. Indiscriminate. Yeah, this is just funny. This is goofy old Monogatari funness. Loading. Oh, that's great. Is that Comic Sans? Fucking looks like it. Huh. Yeah, extrapolate. She'll get there. Okay. That's her. Shine the phone torch on her. Um. Oh, class trial. Who's responsible for the murders? Okay. Expected. Thought it might be. Yeah. If it was tonight, then yeah. Very true. Oh. Oh. I agree. Dwarven? We shouldn't assume anything, but most probably. Finally, searching in earnest. What a terrible thing to say. Oh. Oh, okay, sure. There was a reason. Oh. I agree. Who the fuck is responsible for this? Oh, Menako, please help. What the fuck? What am I supposed to do with that? uh, well, you had to give it a little bit of credit, even if it wouldn't make for a good mystery. Oh, okay. So, like a framing. I didn't even know any more vampires, really. Yeah, I'm querying that too. Shinobu's not harmless, she's violent. She's pretty strong. Yeah, so how did you find... Was it like a... Was it laminated? Oh, finally. Mobile phone. Underwater phone. As we've established. Yeah, the little... Yeah. I've been waiting for it. Okay, shoot. Oh! Finally, cop. Oh. What is this, a fucking Rakugo? No, we don't need the Rakugo jokes. Oh. Oh god. I don't know if that's very funny. It definitely is. Okay, very direct. Oh. Oh, it is, of course. That's great. Not really. So who's responsible? I've got no clue. Oh yeah, this soundtrack again. I don't know, she's always been pretty extra, making an entrance and all that. Yeah, that tracks with me. She'll wake up soon. Any minute now. I agree. Oh. It was 600 years ago. Bold, captivating, mature woman. Finally. So she was hungry? That's why she was searching you out? That's kind of funny. Yeah. It makes sense to me. Again, this is we haven't really established anything new yet. What was the new possibility? Did she finally get hungry again after all that time? Yeah, let's take it to Meniko. Oh, can't I take a screenshot of the code? Finally patrolling around town. The god of strolls. Okay, bye. Yeah, at the FBI headquarters. You some kind of lightweight? Oh yeah, and then she'll start fucking killing people. Fair enough. So that's a ticking time bomb. What an odd episode. I really felt like we didn't really learn anything. I'm keen to dive into this new code, whatever it may be. It felt like an episode of Establishment, just re-establishing certain things for everybody. From that perspective, I guess the detective-y tone in the opening now makes a lot of sense, right? It really feels like an investigation, this arc. Like, what the hell is even going on? Again, it's easy to assume it's just Deathtopia from the start, but now that she's one of the victims as well, it's like fucking weird what's going on. And again, we have that ticking time bomb in the form of Kaganui, who is an ally, but an ally who acts, again, with no restraint. She's just going to murder the fuck out of Deathtopia if she sees her, so... In that way, can't we just text her and say, can you just go somewhere else for a bit? You're on holiday. Forced to leave. Don't come back. At least for a little bit. Oh, who knows? She mightn't have a phone. I'm sure there's plenty of clues which are here already that I'm just kind of missing. Also, yeah, we didn't do anything with the armors either that are in the ED. This whole thing is just weird. What a weird arc. Are those mummies? What the hell? Pisu. And yeah, dive into a little bit of analysis on episode 11 there. What an odd one. It was weird. Cool. And we're back. That was episode 11 of Off and Monster Season, episode 3 of Shinobu Mastered, and it was a bit of a weird one. I don't know what to think about it. It feels very connective, which I guess is fine. Again, this is the disadvantage of doing one a week. This is one episode where I wish I could do another one on the end of it. Again, maybe not today with the whole mass recording session thing. I am getting kind of tired, which I guess is only to be expected. The coffee's not going to do everything forever. But here I've kind of, I guess, very quickly summarized the previous episode. Just kind of a few points that I think we should carry forward that will be relevant to the overall mystery before going a little bit more in depth with this episode in particular, even if, in my opinion, there isn't all that much there. Again, this particular arc, I'm just kind of waiting for it to pop, I guess. I'm not saying it's poor or anything, it's pretty good. It's more just... compared to Nadeko Draw and compared to Acerola Bon Appetit, I think that Shinobu Mastered is a little bit further down. Probably for me personally here at the moment, I'm waiting for the thing to happen in it. It feels very procedural. It feels very, very like run-of-the-mill Monogatari. I'm waiting for what's its point of difference, I guess. Again, once we figure out who's actually responsible here and get some actual dialogue with Deathtopia, I'm confident that it'll pick up the pace a little bit. I'm also unsure how many episodes are left in this arc. It's a really hard one to judge as it stands right now. Either way, I should get to, again, a little bit of recap of what my general thoughts are thus far, again, including episode 10 in here as well. So again, as I said, culture of idolization in the basketball club. You could squint and say that maybe this is somewhat related thematically to the whole culture of idolization that existed around the beautiful princess as well. If you wanted to be all smart about it like that, you could definitely say something like that. Then Guyan talks about the additional victims, she investigates, we see the fruits of that investigation this episode, before Araragi gets his role to suppress Shinobu. Araragi gets bored and fails this role immediately and goes and meets up with Hachikuji, inadvertently meeting up with Deathtopia in the process and not suppressing Shinobu. Either way, Araragi must go to heaven to procure the saliva of the beautiful princess to begin the revivification of Deathtopia. This, yeah, again, wasn't the initial plan. He was meant to go to hell and get some blood from hell. But again, as we learn in the start of this episode, she's a gourmet. She wouldn't just drink any old blood. It had to be some kind of bodily fluid from the beautiful princess. Again, I wasn't expecting it to be saliva, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Off rip, shout out Mysterious Girlfriend X. Again, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. What a based show. Especially for people with a particular fetish. Anyway, I digress. In the meantime, the gang hashes out the details of the case and tries to figure out the mastermind of the vampirizations as well as Deathtopia's motive in returning here now. This makes up the majority of the episode. It makes up, I guess, the hijinks of it. Guyan, Hachikuji, Shinobu, and Araragi all in the same room, kind of debating over Deathtopia's corpse, trying to figure out again, what their theories and general theories are for what's even going on here, which again is the hook of the arc thus far. Why is this happening? If Deathtopia is not responsible for making the people the vampires, Then who's the vampire responsible? We must find out. And again, that code seems pretty important in that regard. Speaking of said code, that is what Guyan found on the body, which she found underwater, one of the fourth victims, one of the names that was suggested by Higasa and Kambaro in the previous episode. This is a different code. It almost feels like it's some kind of Zodiac-esque mystery that we're solving the murders of, right? It's definitely got that criminal investigation vibe to the arc. Overall, I would argue. You know what that means. We've got a new code. Guyan's no good at codes. You know who is good at codes? Fucking Maneko. So let's go take it to Maneko and we get to see my favorite character again. Sound good? Sound good. So again, that's going to be the vibe next episode. Deathtopia is going to continue to wake up. She's kind of been half revived. I think the moisture needs to get to her brain, which I think was the justification there. Araragi must investigate code. Shinobu must stay in his shadow. Hachikuji's doing something, I don't know, god stuff. And we have a ticking clock on the arc generally because Kaganui shows up tomorrow, essentially. So it's the morning now. We have until like after midnight tonight to figure out the case. So again, I like the little bit of tension there with Kaganui. It's a weird kind of tension because she's also an ally. She's just a bit of a loose cannon of an ally who's going to, again, just murder with impunity. Can't we just tell her to stop? Guyan's normally good at bossing people around. Just tell her to... Can you not kill that vampire, please? That'd be great. Either way, let's go back through the episode here with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb. There were some fun production details that I'm sure we'll highlight here again. With only a few roughish spots, I would say that the translation from subs, please, overall this episode was better. It was more legible, at least. I kind of got what was going on a lot of the time, which was good, which I can't say for last week. So again, it's nice to limit damage where we can in that regard. And yeah, let's start here with Araragi in heaven. Welcome to heaven, young Araragi. I would say this scene is characterized by Araragi and his overall nervousness, I would say, right? So he is concerned that he's going to do the same as the general citizens did back in the day, the citizens of the kingdom, and killed themselves in her presence, right? The last time we spoke, there had to be a curtain between us. Now there's still another object between us, obviously that monster mask, packed with meaning, of course, putting this facade of myself, monsterizing myself to stop and suppress my curse, my blessing, right? The implication that also this is heaven and that we're chilling in heaven and that she went to heaven upon, you know, her dying essentially from that vampirization. So that portion of her died and went to heaven. Araragi dies and goes to hell. There's that dichotomy there that we've talked about, of course. And again, Araragi kind of stumbles over his words and he's a little bit uncomfortable. Again, mostly because there's a naked lady, but also because of the whole blessing situation. No good, my speech pattern is already starting to go awry. And yeah, just starts glazing. He thinks that she's pretty swell. She befits the inhabitants of heaven, so to say. What do these clouds here remind you of as well? A little bit of Guyan Izuku here, which is interesting. Instead of the, you know, rainbow sky, we've got the you know, kind of monocolored blue thing going on, just a normal looking sky. But it almost places you in this position of madness, in this position of knowing everything upon seeing her. Which, again, you could squint and see that, I think. Just like how Araragi was separated from his vampirism back in the day and sent to hell, a similar thing happened to you back in the day with your vampirization. The beautiful soul was discarded and sent to heaven, right? And yeah, hey, why did you even bring me up here? I'm meant to get blood from Blood Pond Hell and take it back with me. This is actually deterring me from doing what I want to do. Specifically here we have the language thing that we highlighted in Acerola Bon Appetit. She uses extremely polite Japanese, a lot of watakashi, and that kind of vibe. Specifically the stuff that she was shedding before in the process of becoming Kishot. So it's really fun to see that reversion, again, that discard sent up to heaven, retaining that language. It really talks to this transition between beautiful princess and proper Kishot. You know, for it being heaven, it seems like the beautiful princess is a little bit indifferent about this whole place. In fact, it reminds her of her homeland, the place which she's ruined, one of the first countries in which she ruined, right? Still obviously harboring a lot of that guilt over doing so, right? And Araragi here argues, I would argue semantics, wouldn't it have been a country that would have fallen to ruin someday even if you weren't there? You were just the catalyst, and thinking that you're the entire reason behind it falling is, again, too judgmental on your own self, I would say. To that effect, I would say no. She's pretty squarely the reason why everything disastrous happened. I don't know, it's a weird one to talk about, I think. All that is fair will inevitably fade. No matter how beautiful, it will someday fall to ruin. Is that what you want to say, Araragi? Is that what you want to do? Separate my... I guess, culpability in the destroying of these countries and that kind of thing? If so, as I have gained eternity by having Suicide Master drink my blood, you can say that I am all too avaricious. I'm greedy, right? In that so I've gained eternity and gained redemption almost through the prolonging of Deathtopia's life, right? The beautiful princess now almost sees that as justification for, like, the ends justifying the means of her destroying these countries. At least I was able to do something good with my life and provide sustenance enough for a vampire to live on for generations and generations. Genuinely save somebody, all those great themes we saw come through in Acerola Bon Appetit, right? So me, forgiving myself for my sins of the past and still congratulating myself for, again, prolonging the life of this vampire, the one good thing that I have done, would be too avaricious, would be too greedy to consider myself that way. I still feel bad for the countries I destroyed, but at least I was able to make something good with my life before I was sent up here. I regretted my survival. I should have died before I met Suicide Master. And yeah, because of that, I've made Suicide Master shoulder a heavy burden. Therefore, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I still feel like I'm indebted to her and that I've done wrong to Suicide Master in that regard. I could not help but pull you up into the right direction towards myself, who will actually save Suicide Master and not letting you fall to hell and go on the wrong track. I still have to help her to justify everything, right? Even from beyond the grave, I'm still going to provide sustenance for her. Again, combine this with a lot of the conceits of Acerola Bon Appetit, and I think this is pretty cool. Again, beautiful princess here's the whole thing is that she's overly polite. She's overly, again, selfless. She's got too much of a pure, beautiful soul to the point where she's almost inhumanly nice, right? She thinks that she's being a burden on Deathtopia by making her vampirization her, if that makes any sense, right? Which, again, I'm sure Deathtopia was happy enough to do that in the process. I'm pretty sure she would have denied doing it if she didn't want to do it, right? And Araragi argues as such, right? Vampires are destined to drink others' blood. You were just part of the process there. I can say this as well because I have become a vampire. Vampires drinking blood is different from Mr. Lion and Miss Bear assaulting humans. Lion-san, Kuma-san, which I thought was a very fun detail. Araragi even seems taken aback by it. It's almost inhumanly, incapably nice to give this, again, amount of care to wild animals. But her argument here is it's different from a simple food chain discussion when it comes to vampires. Yeah, this is it's not really hidden for me. I'm not sure what she's getting at here with the whole food chain discussion. I may have altered stuff too much by having too many vampires. She regrets turning herself into Kishshot in the form that there's too many vampires, in the form that that's throwing off some kind of balance. Is that what we're getting at? Again, maybe the dialogue here could use a few rewrites. But no, then she describes vampires as an endangered species. So what? I regret that I've been the food source of her to the point where she can't eat anything else, and I've kind of killed her in the process of her having tasted me. I would like to then save Suicide Master so that an endangered species of vampires don't then go out of the ecosystem any more than they already have. Again, because she's a gourmet and she's tasted the sweetest amount of blood, the only thing that she can now eat is me again, so therefore saliva. Is that what we're getting at here? I've given her a taste for the nicer things to the point where she won't eat anything else, in the process endangering herself. Again, I just don't know. That could be the answer. Either way, Araragi refocuses the conversation here, and it's, hey, I've got something here in heaven that can save her. Again, it's the saliva. We'll see the scene. That was an interesting line, though. She's like, Blood Pond Hell doesn't exist in heaven the same way that Araragi and myself shouldn't be in heaven either. Which is interesting. It's a bit of a shot at Araragi, but also shows a bit of self-deprecation on your part, where the impurity's in hell here at the moment, or in heaven, I should say. I like the reversal of this shot. We saw a shot before of her dropping water, now she's dropping blood. I thought I was going to scoop up some blood like water. Instead, you're not going to be scooping up any sort of blood out of any sort of river. Of course, she's a gourmet. She will not ingest menu items that will not satisfy her. Instead, I will suggest bodily fluids from yours truly. Again, what kind of bodily fluids can we think of here, chat room? It really boggles the mind. I was very surprised it wasn't blood, if I'm honest. Again, going the whole saliva route instead. Either way, Araragi, please close your eyes. I'm going to take off the mask and plant one on you, big boy. I'm going to kiss you while, you're closing your eyes so you don't kill yourself in my presence. Sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool. There needs to be that barrier between us. Again, back in the day, why didn't Princess Acerola just wear a mask? Was she stupid? Again, jokes. You know what I mean. Anyway, Araragi gets one planted on him by a naked girl because it's Monogatari, so fair enough. She's also filling his mouth with saliva currently. Very, very cool. He will then transfer said saliva to a young vampiric girl. Again, extremely Monogatari sentence, I must say. One thing we do have going for us is a bit of an opening going on. This whole thing to start feels very... Is noir-y the right word? Kinda. Cowboy Bebop if you wanted to be lame. But yeah, that kind of vibe to this opening. Definitely an investigation going on, and these kind of spotlights late at night, and the mystery unfolding, and that kind of thing, right? I don't even know what instrument's playing here in the instrumental, but definitely gives it this kind of old school investigation type vibe. The mysterious people on the posters, the mummifications, of course, the various investigations of the murders. Meneko making an appearance here in the opening as well. Again, I think the art here is generally quite good. It's got that kind of Monogatari ED art style, which I'm quite enjoying too. Again, befitting of the Shinobu openings, you know, instrumental track. Just kind of this art style playing throughout. I think the minimalism here does a lot for it. Again, there's some really cool visual moments here, for sure. And even get a little bit funny here with, like, on that beat there, you saw Shinobu eating those 2 donuts. Pretty funny, pretty good. Overall, I think it's a shorter opening as well. Again, not one of the best openings in the series by any means, but it's fine. It's pretty good. So I'm trying to put this together as well. What was the plan here? How were they supposed to bring him back from the dead? What were they supposed to do? Again, because both Hachikuji and Shinobu here are devastated because they thought they permanently killed Araragi. Again, it's filled with meaning here a little bit more for Hachikuji, considering the whole Mayoi hell baggage we had going on there. I can't believe I almost sent you into hell again and then you died. And as it turns out, we needed Guy and Izuko here with her other sword, the other one of the 2-sword set we have, to revive the oddity to get Araragi back. And Guyan says that she was bored by this whole affair, which is bad. We don't like it when Guyan's bored. Again, it feels like Guyan's a little bit judging here of Araragi and his failure to, again, accomplish the simplest of tasks and not let Shinobu know about Deathtopia and her presence here. Specifically here we have Demon Sword Yume Watari, matches the blade which kills apparitions, a blade of revival. Again, we used this in fucking whatever that arc was called, Mayoi Hell. Either way, Guyan's being all cute about it. I'm waiting for my apology and all that kind of shit. Araragi, what's the go? But Araragi's got different plans because he's got a mouthful of spit, which he needs to spit into the little girl's mouth. Because Monogatari. I really like this pose here as he walks on over. He's very determined in this whole affair. That's just an objectively funny frame. That's just good television. Araragi explains what's going on here. Instead of a kiss, it's mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with a life-saving fluid, that being the saliva of the beautiful princess, which he has taken from heaven. We see the heaven-esque kind of landscape reflected in his eye here as we say the line. And as we see here, we get that transition point between the mummification to normal body again. This very much looks like Comic Sans, but it's not, which is funny. She's loading her body back up full of fluid, right? Again, just, you know, normal Monogatari stuff, I would say. Guyan comments here that this is great and all, but we can't do the same thing to the high school girls because this resuscitation in itself is a vampirization. It's almost like the beautiful princess is returning the favor of the vampirization back at her. Again, ultimately selfless in the process. With this, we think, well, situation saved. Deathtopia is ready to have a conversation. Guyan here explains that it takes some time, probably a whole day. Well, not a whole day. Almost a whole day. From here, we get, I guess I would argue, the general gist of the rest of the episode. Guyan here has the prime suspect for what's going on in front of her. I want you guys to prove to me that Deathtopia isn't the person that's committing these murders, essentially, right? From here on, we're going to stick together and engage in a spirited discussion. We're going to have a class trial about the murders here and who's actually responsible. Either way, first things first, Guyan brings knowledge. There's been an investigation on the 4th victim, right? We have found a new body. Where and what and how and why and when did we find this body? It's at the bottom of the fucking ocean. It's at the bottom of the lake. And if the murder of said body was tonight, then Deathtopia Virtuoso Suicide Master would have a valid alibi, of course. She's been here the entire time, we can attest to that. The missing victim is indeed one of the girls that was described by Higasa and Kambaru. This is a very interesting comment from Araragi. This feels mean-spirited. Again, putting weights to her feet and dropping her to the bottom of the reservoir. it feels dismal, dwarven, and rather typical human behavior. Not something generally a vampire would do. It feels like it's got some human motivation to it and almost some ironic enjoyment in this killing. Again, maybe we'll use this to narrow down Mastermind later on. We're still looking for that fifth victim, of course. Hachikuji suggests what she would do with the victim is bury her in the dirt. She only says that, of course, because that's how she found Suicide Master buried underneath the mountain, essentially. Again, Hachikuji will have time to explain her part of the story as we continue here. More pertinently, we have a code left on the body. Do you want to know how the code was left? It was left on a phone. So that's how we're able to read it and how it was legible underwater. That's our code. I'm not going to be like some kind of guy that's going to figure out this code for you ahead of time. If you are that type of person, go right ahead. It's not my bag. I'm bad at this kind of shit. I'm like Guyan. I'm bad at puzzles. Shinobu continues to build the alibi here for Deathtopia. I don't think Suicide Master here even knows what a prime number is. Neither do I. Again, you're like a vampire from years and years ago. Prime numbers did exist, but like, do you really think she's attending math class? That's my point. It doesn't seem like her MO. Again, this whole gourmet, again, she doesn't seem like much of a mastermind. In fact, she's way more grandiose than that. It wouldn't match her MO personality-wise. Therefore, I think it must be someone else, somebody that's particularly good with codes, somebody that's particularly human. Oh my god, it's just going to be Augie again. I fucking hope not. That'd be funny. Augie's just running around fucking killing people. Again, that wouldn't even make any sense considering Augie's not a vampire, but again, stranger things have happened. This is translated really weirdly. I don't know what line is which. Suicide Master? Been a while, do you remember me? It's me. I am the vampire of prepared death, inevitable death, and certain death. Did you forget? I left a simple code. But did you solve it yet? I can assume there's another vampire out here trying to frame Suicide Master so they can continue to do their vampiric things without her presence, with her taking a lot of the heat there. I like this visual metaphor here for this as well, right? I'm allowed to continue to do my vampire stuff, even potentially this looks almost very British. Almost very Jack the Ripper inspired. She's the one on the poster, she's the one that everyone's going to go see, whilst I'm the actual creature, the actual murderer that's stalking in the night, that's doing all the stuff away from the cinema, in the dark alleys behind it and stuff. Yeah, I like this visual metaphor here. Very vampiric. Therefore, that's the reason why Deathtopia is here and a mummy. That would also imply that this other vampire defeated her in combat somehow. Also, if B77Q, or B777Q, excuse me, was a signature, then it's a fake one, it's a framing. That is, of course, if it's a living message. If a vampire faces a high school girl and introduces themselves like, hey, here's my full title, I'm Deathtopia, and if the victim took it in hook, line, and sinker, then the likelihood that she leaves that name behind is high. So again, are we trying to then imply that a victim would just write it down as well? That's fucking strange. I don't think that's what happened, though. Weird. Unless... I don't know. However, Suicide Master, unlike Shinobu, is not a vampire who has been acknowledged to be harmless. So even if she was innocent of this particular crime, she's still a target for extermination. She's still dangerous, she's still at large. Even if there's an even more dangerous presence out there, you're still on the dangerous scale. Guyan argues that she's a moderate and would never do such a thing, which I think is BS. But Kaganui very much isn't a moderate. She is the very most extreme. So yeah, watch out for her, and she is en route. Again, look at Kaganui fucking punch the shit out of this fucking iceberg. She's like that. She's different. Again, I don't want to really think about what Kaganui would do to Deathtopia even in this condition, so let's not think about it and instead focus on the code. How did you find the code? It was on a phone. The number was on the screen. I deduced that it might be some kind of message. Araragi then, upon learning that there's a code, looks at his, I'm guessing this is his schedule, right? All the classes that he's doing. Again, I'd love to have this translated, but yeah, he's like, can you wait till tomorrow morning? I'm going to go ask Menako about this code. So she's going to wait till tomorrow morning for the code. Fair enough. Of course, there's more than the fact that the code was left behind, but it was left behind on the phone. That means that unlike the previous victims, the phone itself was unlocked. Which is interesting. Who unlocked the phone, or was that particular person aware of their code on their phone, indicating an amount of closeness to the victim? Either way, the phone is still open, so the victim's personal information is now mine to control. Guyan is gathering information as we speak. Next up, we do Hachikuji's story about how she found Deathtopia. She unzips her mouth and begins to explain her side of the story. She would ditch the right to remain silent and use my right to spread the word. Based. Also cop uniform. slightly less based, but sure. From here, we do a whole Rakugo thing, which I just think is funny. Again, the joke's kind of a little bit going over my head. It's a very Japanese one. I particularly like the lack of crowd, but the canned laughter already being in the theater. I think that's just a good bit. I'm happy that I knew it was Rakugo, though. That's half the joke. Again, it's a very classic type of comedy, theater, that kind of thing. Performance. Befitting of the, I guess, godlike and classic character that Hachikuji is now. Again, she's older than she seems, of course, like all the characters are in the show, basically. She has the background here kind of accompanying her and telling the story. I believe there's use of props in Rakugo and that kind of thing, so this is kind of befitting there as well, I would say. And again, she's got jokes. Here's the comedy portion of it too. Again, you can tell the voice actor's just having an absolute ball reading this dialogue. Very, very funny. Again, you would have to imagine, how would you even write this in the novel? You would have to imagine that this is a Shaft edition instead of a Nissio Sin thing. Either way, it's befitting of the show. I really think it's a pretty good joke. Either way, specifically in the story here, Deathtopia lands from the fucking stars, passes through the barrier, doesn't squash Hachikuji, which is based. Thank you for not doing that. It very much reminds me of when Kiss Shot landed, right? And made the whole crater. That was the whole idea, right? Made the lake. In a very opposite way, we have Deathtopia landing here and becoming a pile of viscera and goo, and remarking that she's died yet again in kind of a catchphrase kind of way. Of course, we know that that is kind of a catchphrase. Once Deathtopia had revived, she told me why I was here. She wanted to visit Kissshot, Acerola, Orion, Heart Under Blade, of course. Hachikuji obviously knows who that is. Therefore, I gave her directions. I hoped that there would be a tearful reunion between the two. Of course, it is Hachikuji's role to guide the lost as well. She seemed lost. She didn't know where Shinobu was, pointed her in the right direction. Very Hachikuji sentiment, I like that. After that, I assumed there was a heartwarming reunion, but instead, a week later, I found her buried in the side of the fucking mountain. So what gives? Yeah, very quick joke here as well. Shinobu's just very happy because she ate a whole box of donuts that entire time. Yeah, you're just kind of in the background there. We don't even focus on it. Pretty good. I like that. Either way, that's the conclusion of the show, and that's what she meant again before when she said, you know, she was buried in some dirt. Again, there was an entire mountain on top of her. Guyan has a few questions here. One, okay, if she's a smart vampire, why the fuck did she burst through the barrier and make a smash landing and fucking splatter herself in the process? Why didn't she just sneak in or turn to mist or shadow or something the vampires would do? Turn into a bat? I don't know. That's not her style. As we describe here, Deathtopia is all about the grandiose. She wants to make grand entrances and that kind of thing. Again, think about Shinobu. Shinobu could sneak around everywhere all the time, but she's got this ego about her. And that's, again, where did that ego come from? That's Deathtopia. Again, instead of sneaking in, we have this whole airport motif. She's going to be on her own private jet walking down the runway, that kind of vibe. There's still a question mark here, apparently. No matter how powerful a vampire she is, she shouldn't be able to get through the barrier in the first place. And yeah, apparently we will learn more once we get to investigate her, or interrogate her, I should say, once she wakes up. Shinobu here has the nail in the coffin of the supposed Deathtopia is responsible for this theory, right? She can't eat any food other than myself right now. That would be a reason why she came on over, right? We still have to talk about how she got through that barrier, of course, but she came here to eat me. Not only does she eat delicious food, but she can't eat anything other than delicious food. And Shinobu recounts Acerola Bon Appetit here. I watched, you know, Deathtopia whittle away because she couldn't eat me, right? Her original form was a beautiful older woman. Look at this, she's regressed even more than before. And again, she's hooked on that princess's blood, of course. She needs a sip of it, otherwise she's going to go crazy. That's why she's specifically seeking out Shinobu again, right? To get another portion of her. So that's why, again, it wouldn't befit her to go around assaulting random high school girls. That's not her vibe. Not grandiose, hidden in the dark of night, and she wouldn't eat them. She doesn't kill things she doesn't eat. However, Shinobu's comments here opened up another course of, you know, discussion. Why now? Why now, after all this time, for the first time in 600 years, do you need a little bit more of Shinobu? Is it to eat Shinobu? We don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it's a good idea to not be around when she revives. Maybe she's just gonna fucking eat Shinobu, and that would be bad. Either way, that's stuff we will consider later on once she's fully awake and stuff. Either way, we're splitting up again. Gaien's going to go analyze the cell phone of the girl who died, Kangu, and I'm going to take Kangu's code and take it to Manako and figure it out. So we're splitting up again. We'll renegotiate, we'll re-intervene at Naoetsu General Hospital, the FBI headquarters. Hachikuji's going to patrol around town, I guess, just fuck around, I don't know, she'll probably have something. Shinobi's like, fuck that shit, I'm going to bed. I'm going to leave you to do the code stuff because that's boring. And from here, Gaien makes us aware of the ticking clock. The case has gotten complicated, but no matter what the truth is, we have to end it tonight. What Gaien says here specifically is that it'll turn into a big stink and people will make a big deal about it. Therefore, time is of the essence. Araragi's more aware of the real ticking time bomb, which is Kaganui arriving and just fucking shit up. Again, taking no prisoners, murdering some bitches. And again, with that, Araragi drives off to university to supposedly crack this code with Menako. And yeah, from there, I don't have much else to say. Again, felt like a very, transitional episode. Very middle of the road in that regard, I would argue. Again, probably works better in combination with a little bit more knowledge of things. I thought the visit to heaven was nice. The episode was generally funny. I thought there was some fun character moments, fun visual moments, of course. Voice acting always top-notch. Again, I'm just waiting for what the point of it all is. What are we trying to get at? Again, I think Nadeko Draw was very good in that regard. I think Acerola Bon Appetit was very good in that regard. I'm struggling to yap, I guess, about it any more than I already have, which again wasn't a problem that I had previously. Again, this isn't exactly a negative thing, it's just a consequence of the structure of the arc and the way I do these episodes. So yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm very tired. So yeah, we'll leave it there for today. Again, remember next week is the week off, so again, do with that what you will. And yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm gonna go off and enjoy my holiday. Something like that anyway. Woo! Let's go. And again, Patreon if you want to be that 1 week ahead. Discord, like the video, subscribe. And yeah, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching this week. Catch you later. Cheerio, ciao, goodbye, all that stuff.